meeting to order. Everybody please rise and for pledge of allegiance. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Heather, are there any callers online?
I'm going to do roll call first.
Okay.
So Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Here.
Commissioner Ferris,
Here.
Commissioner Hayman. Here. Commissioner Reed.
Here.
4 present. Chairman Cox is absent. We have a quorum.
So do we know if we have any callers on the line?
Yes, this is Lupe Sandoval with CRM Architects for the Panda Express.
Okay. Approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I will move. I'll second.
Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferris,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayman. Yes. Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
4 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Approval of minutes of 4/28/2020. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move.
Second. Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferris,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayman. Yes. Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
4 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Public comments of items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the Commission on matters that are within the Commission's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Planning Commission may not take action on an item that does not appear on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. The public comment section of the agenda is limited to a total of 1 hour. Each speaker is asked to provide his or her name. At this time, I open the public comment at 6:06 as per our time.
No color.
I guess there is nobody for public comment. I close public comment period at this time, 6:07. We'll move on to public hearing, open public hearing, variance 20-01. Staff report. Do I need to read this? Okay.
So variance 2001 is a request for a parking stall with variance for the Panda Express. The project is located at 201 East Bowman Road. The applicant is CRM Architects and Planners on behalf of Panda Express. So CRM Architects and Planners has submitted a site plan and a variance for the proposed Panda Express. The site plan review requires a staff level approval of substantial conformance with the commercial specific plan that was approved for the Walmart site and the parcels. Before we can do that staff level review, we need to bring this variance to you. So the variance that they're asking for is to allow for a mixture of 9x18 and 9x20 parking stalls, which is a variance from our 9 with a 1-foot double stripe by 20. The proposed site is in front of the Walmart Supercenter. This is the site plan review. The applicant has requested the variance in order to provide sufficient parking That way they don't spill over to the adjoining development during their rush periods. The municipal code requires 31 parking stalls for the 2,300 square foot dining area, and the applicant is proposing 44 parking stalls with the requested variance for the size. So what they're trying to do is to get more parking. This isn't like they're trying to not meet the parking, they're exceeding our parking requirements. They just want to be able to have that 9 by 18 and 9 by 20. So in order for the Planning Commission to approve a variance, there are considerations that include whether the applicant has practical difficulty, if there's circumstances that we're not allowing a special privilege, and there's no safety concerns. In your staff report, there's pretty in-depth description of those findings. Staff has reviewed the parking requirements and recommends that you allow the variance. It's not a safety hazard. It, in fact, is probably better to allow the flow of traffic by having more parking stalls. That way it's not going to interfere with those pulling into the Walmart parking lot. You won't have people crossing the Walmart parking to get into their site. They are meeting the length in various places where they can. So staff recommends approval. If you guys have any questions, the applicant is on the line, and I can help in any way.
So what's the name of the applicant on the line?
Good evening. Yes, this is Lupe Sandoval with CRM Architects.
Can you, Lupe? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner comments, please.
I have one thing to say. 9-foot stalls are pretty standard everywhere else I've ever been. So I've even seen stalls as shallow as 16 feet with a 2-foot overhang. So I think what they're proposing is only going to aid in traffic, like Heather said, and I think it's going to be just fine.
Thank you, Commissioner Reed.
Ms. Sandoval, did your company do a traffic flow survey by any chance?
Traffic impact study?
Correct. Or traffic flow study?
We have not. We have not.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Faris.
And just to add, we have received engineering comments at this time because we submitted concurrent to building. And we are going to be switching those 18-foot stalls to 20 feet. We have the room to change the striped area. So all the stalls will be 20 foot in depth, just 9 foot wide. And we are going with a double stripe.
So you are going with the double stripes, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. 9 by 20 with double stripes.
Correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is the 9-foot center to center or line to line?
Yes, center to center.
So you effectively have an 8-foot stall for parking width, right?
They're 9 foot wide from center line of the loop, double loop line.
And it's a 1-foot wide double stripe, right? So you've got half a foot on either side, so you're going to have effectively have an 8-foot width for a car to park in.
Yes, it would dimension that way.
Ma'am, this is Commissioner Solomon. What is the seating capacity of this new Panda Express proposed?
We have 68 fixed seating.
68 seats.
Correct.
So don't you think for 68 seats, 44 stalls are, I mean, a lot of, it's more than the required, right? That's what I'm thinking. So you have to justify, if you are having 68 seats, why do you need 44 stalls? So each car, if 2 or 3 people are coming, so then why do you need 44? So that has to be justified. Can you say something?
This is Daryl Whitten. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Daryl. Yes, sir.
I have a question pertaining to this matter. I'm the civil engineer on the project. My understanding was that the standard parking stall in the city was a 9 by 20. If it's double striped, it's 10 foot wide, but that's to the outer stripe, but it's 9 foot wide center to center.
Correct.
Well, that's what they're proposing here is 9 foot wide by 20 foot stalls. I'm not sure why the variance is being required, I guess.
That's what we were wondering, actually.
Daryl, we're all nodding in agreement with you that we're not understanding the variance request if it meets code and they're actually, exceeding the max required parking spaces. So I'm not quite sure why we need a variance.
Well, I think the variance is in the geometry of the parking stall, and the zoning ordinance doesn't have any specific dimensions in it. It's always referred to a drawing that's in the engineering manual, and the drawing is a bit vague as to whether the 10-foot parking stall is to the center or it's to the outside stripe. And so I think there have been times when I've been told that the standard commercial parking stall is 9 by 20, and then other people have told me, no, it's 10 by 20. But on a double stripe stall, the 10-foot dimension appears to be to the outer stripe on the city standard drawing. So, I mean, a 9 by 20 stall is standard throughout Kern County. So
And that's what
I think.
Mr. Daryl Whitman, that's what the code says, though. Parking spaces shall have the minimum dimensions of 9 feet by 20 feet with a 1 foot double stripe between spaces. So that's what our municipal code says. And you are meeting that requirement, I think, as of now, without variance.
Right, they're 9 foot wide center to center.
That's correct. Yes. So we are meeting the requirement and the standard.
So there is no request for variance in this case. Am I correct? So do you agree with me?
I would agree that the variance isn't needed, that
Yeah.
a 9 by 20 parking stall meets the standard, and that's what is being proposed.
So yeah, that's
But-
the standard. That's what is required as per the municipal code.
Yeah, I would agree the same if it's not necessary. We were told we needed to submit a variance.
I apologize for that. We don't see. I mean, I personally don't see a reason for a variance. I need to take the comments of our commissioners.
Ms. Sandoval, who advised that you needed a variance?
I believe the city planner, based on the 10-foot width requirement.
I see.
The only, Daryl, this is Commissioner Reed. I had a question for you as far as, I agree with you, the engineering standards are very vague and very hard to make heads or tails of at times. So, just so I make sure I'm understanding this right, the double width stripe, so center to center is 9 feet. So you're effectively going to have an 8-foot wide parking stall inside a line to inside a line, correct?
8-foot inside line, 10-foot to the outside line, and 9-foot center to center, correct.
So, I would agree with you guys. I don't see the point of a variance if they're saying they can meet the 20-foot standard. And I think what needs to happen is we need to clean our codes up to make it to where all of this is a lot more ascertainable and easier to understand, so people don't come to us for things they don't need.
I think we are working on that. I mean, staff is working on that, so.
I think at the time there were some parking stalls that were 18 feet and they didn't have a 2-foot overhang, but we had room inside to make them 20 feet. And so then I think the idea was, well, we still need a variance for the 9-foot wide stalls. But at this point, we're going 9 by 20 on all the stalls, which should meet the standard. I say, give them the variance and we'll do 9 by 20s.
Yeah, I think the commission feels there is no requirement for any variance. Commissioners, do you agree with me?
I agree. Yeah. So would we have to deny this variance then?
No, if it doesn't apply anymore, then it doesn't apply. If they're all the correct size, then they're withdrawing their request. They're no longer 9 by 18, they're all 9 by 20.
9 by 20?
Yeah.
Double striped.
Right.
Double striped. Okay.
The only thing I would say to that is I know they did say that they have enough space to do 20 feet, but if we did grant them this variance, it would give them, if they did in fact need to shorten a couple stalls to make something work, they would have the leeway to be able to shorten those stalls and wouldn't have to come back to us if everybody was in agreement that 18 foot is okay.
We have the room to make them 20 feet,
Yeah.
and we've already updated our plans, as a matter of fact, because we received the engineering comments, so that's already been taken care of.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's all we have on that, but we don't have to discuss this at this point, but as Commissioner Faris said, traffic study, probably you may have to take a look at that, looking into the exit and entrance of this facility from the crossroad between Walmart and China Lake Boulevard. Please keep that in mind, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for participating, Daryl. Next item, discussion and other action items. Tentative track map 6775 extension.
So this map is for E2 vacant land. It's on the west side of College Heights Boulevard. The map had 3 phases. One phase has been finalized already. The map was for 77 lots. There's 61 lots remaining for phase 2 and 3. This has received 2 extensions already from the Planning Commission. If approved, this would be the last extension allowable by the Ridgecrest Municipal Code. Staff recommends approval for another 12-month extension from the last date of the extension.
Commissioner comments, please.
Do you know if they're really planning to develop, or is this another, they buy the track maps and then sell it if it works?
They did already complete phase one. It's been
Okay.
finalized. So that is at the bottom there. It's kind of hard to see, but phase one, those lots have all been, that map has been finalized. So it's just phase 2 and 3. I believe they did submit to engineering. So I believe like the grading was already done previously, but I think there was some work that engineering had done. So I'm not sure of the intent, but
Okay.
they only have 12 months.
Okay, thank you.
This is Daryl Whitten. All the improvement plans have been submitted to engineering and they've been approved. So this project is ready to go to construction. The owner is just waiting to see if there's going to be an opportunity to do that. But he wants to move the project. A year ago, he was very anxious. Things have changed since then.
Understood. Thank you.
There's a comment.
Commissioner Bree. Any public comment?
Hello, this is Chester Cornelius. Hi, yes, I'm calling about the tentative track map approval to phase 2. I was wondering about the water retention basin at the third phase of the property. I don't see any mention in this phase about where that water retention basin is going to be implemented. Back in the day, there was supposed to be drainage supplied by the original developer. And right now, there's currently a temporary water runoff sump pond up there right now for the phase 1 development. And it's certainly inadequate and not even shown in this map here that you've displayed today. So kind of curious about where that water is going to go and how that's going to go to that proposed third phase water retention basin that was implemented way back when.
Lauren, would you like to address that, or would you like me to comment on it?
Can you hear me, Commissioners?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we heard you. So, yeah, Mr. Whitman, can you address that point which was raised?
Yeah, the current plan, let me mute this thing here. Okay, I was getting some feedback. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the plan is to drain this project through the project to the north. The streets have already been graded to accomplish the drainage. It's all going to be directed to the existing sump that's located along Springer and the corner of College Heights Boulevard.
So this is Chester Cornelius. One other question there.
That sump pond in the third phase was supposed to have a water removal pump installed, and so that we wouldn't have West Nile virus effects of standing water in that huge sump pond.
Sir, can you repeat that statement again? We couldn't hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry. My concern was about the water retention basin on College Heights and Springer. That water retention basin was supposed to be designed to be emptied within 7 days. It was going to have pumps installed and maintained by the city at the time of the original developer to control the West Nile virus concerns, and also so we didn't have runoff to the house. So it would flow across the pipe and drain in a controlled manner rather than sit there as a sump pond full of mosquitoes. So I guess the question is who's going to pay for that, and is this developer paying into that? Was the original phase one developer with all those current houses built, did they pay into that? I think not, but I'm hoping this is bringing some remembrance of years ago when that tract was approved and that sump pond was designed for all 3 phases, and yet it's never been put in place. And even looking at these current drawings, it's not in the plan to be implemented either. So hoping that either this developer or the final phase developer is going to fund that. I think that's all my comments.
Thank you, sir.
Now, this is Commissioner Reed. I know I might be privy to a little bit more information than the Planning Commission, the rest of the commission is right now, but if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, Daryl, I think there are plans for some underground storm drain stuff that are part of this, right?
Well, the track to the north, track 6700, is going to receive the stormwater from this site. The problem that we have up at the existing sump that's at the corner of Springer and College Heights is that there's an awful lot of runoff from the existing subdivisions that lie south of, what's the street that's a half mile south of Springer?
Kendall.
I can't remember the name. Yep. All those tracks south of Kendall, they all dump their water into the desert or they dump it out onto College Heights. And so in a storm event, the water comes flying down the hill from those tracks, and it ends up filling up this sump that's at the corner of Springer and College Heights. That storm water is supposed to keep going, I guess, and flow on to the north. Those tracks to the south were all developed at a time when the city didn't have a standard for a stormwater sump. So right now what we have is we have the project that was developed by D.R. Horton back about 10 years ago, and it drains down to the southwest corner of this tract, and we have a temporary stormwater basin that's installed there that takes the stormwater from track 6740. But eventually that basin is going to go away when the rest of this develops. In the meantime, we have a situation out there where that sump at the corner of Springer and College Heights fills up because it gets rain, it gets a lot of runoff that shouldn't go to it. And until the rest of the improvements along College Heights are put in, it's going to continue to fill up from off-site stormwater. These 3 tracks, 6700, 6775, and 6740, they were all bought and graded out completely by D.R. Horton back in about 2006, and D.R. Horton just walked away from the project after they got their first phase done. So the current developer has plans to move forward with it. He wants to do both tracks. Frankly, it's hard for him to get competitive bids from local general contractors out here, and so he's trying to figure out a way to make this thing pencil out with, to get the site improvements in an economical way. But he's got a year to get it done, so I'm going to be pressing him to get something going.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments?
I am a little concerned about how this runoff is going to be mitigated. Because this has just been extended a couple times. I could see now that there's new implementation done that would prevent this from happening. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. But the other thing is we're just going to approve a tentative tract map. There's really no other, we can't amend it at all. Is that correct, Heather?
That would be true unless the developer agrees.
Thank you.
No other comments?
No other comments.
I would move to approve
You know,
the
if
extension.
Do you have a second?
Second. Vice Chairman Rajaratnam,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferris,
Aye.
Commissioner Hayman, Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
4 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, next item, commissioner items and comments. Commissioner Reed.
I don't have any new ones this week. I was
Not bad.
supposed to bring some information that I forgot to bring. I forgot to get to Heather, so that one's on me.
Commissioner Ferris.
I would just like to inquire about where we are on the parking updates, because I know for several meetings we've discussed what the parking requirement should be if we're moving toward a standard that's more reflective of the rest of California. And I just was kind of wondering where the city was on that, if you know.
Lauren, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you. Can you tell the commissioners a little bit more details about the engineering design standards and when we hope to have that underway?
Yes, I can. We have a consultant on board. We've gone through a review process of candidates and selected a candidate. We were trying to go to city council, I think around end of February. We decided to hold off until our budget was approved, and then we'll be launching our project after the budget's been approved. Parking will be one of the items that will be discussed and be a part of a workshop. I would anticipate that we'll start our workshops somewhere in August, September.
So just ballpark, when do you suppose that we could see those new requirements?
Well, dependent on the priority of our approach to the standards, it'd be difficult for me to give you an estimate at this time. We still have to get the council to approve the project, give a notice of order to the consultant, and then establish a schedule for the workshops.
$2021, 2022?
We've gotten workshops established for this project. I would say 2021 would be a realistic estimate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Culp. Next is Commissioner Heyman. Do you have any comments? Sorry, I didn't ask you. Staff items, please.
So I am going to be asking you guys, hopefully later this week, if you are available the second week in June for a special planning commission meeting. It would be regarding a temporary use permit. So it's a recommendation for an ordinance that we need to take to city council. The purpose of the temporary use permit is going to be for the employee camps for repairing the base. Yes. Employee housing, as the state likes to call them. So I will be asking you guys if you can participate in a special meeting in a couple weeks. I don't have a date yet, so just making you aware.
Is it half day, full day, or 1 hour, 2
Commissioners?
hours?
It would be brief. It's just an ordinance review. We have it drafted. It just has to go to planning commission for a recommendation to go to council since it is part of the zoning code.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other
Commissioners?
stuff?
Yes, sir.
If I may, I'd like to report on our South Down Street project. We had a pre-construction meeting today. We are anticipating start of construction somewhere around the middle of June. We're also anticipating a full hard closure of South Downs. We anticipate a detour on Ridgecrest Boulevard to Mahan to Uptown. We just last Thursday, we had a pre-construction meeting for our Tamarisk Street project. We do anticipate construction towards the 1st of June. We are anticipating a pre-construction meeting on our Dolphin Street project towards the end of this week. We also anticipate construction around the mid of June on that project. That concludes my report of construction projects that we have currently on the books.
Thanks, Mr. Culp. Any other comments from commissioners, staff? Nothing? We're slowly reopening. I'm so happy about that. So hope things get better and we get back to normalcy. So, but we still have to be careful. So maintain our social distancing and masks and yeah. So barber shops and salons are going to open from today, I think. So yeah. Right. If there are no other items, I adjourn this meeting at 6:42.
Thanks.